So I'm going to go back a little bit. I've heard you, I'm sure some of you have heard the story of Joseph, the coat of many colors, Joseph, the second in command of Egypt, Joseph, the one who was betrayed by his brothers, on and on and on. But Joseph's story is really a story about God and about how God works in our lives in all kinds of ways. And so Joseph was born into a family with a few other brothers, and he was Dad's favorite. I was not Mom's or Dad's favorite. Gail was. So I can understand the brothers a little bit in this. Gail's my sister. So I can understand the brothers' anger a little bit in this story. So Joseph was Dad's favorite. And the brothers were angry at Joseph. They hated Joseph because Dad loved him more. And so one day, the dad says to Joseph, go and get your brothers. And the brothers were out in the fields tending the herds. And so Joseph goes to the field where they were supposed to be at, and the brothers aren't there. And so someone says to Joseph, your brothers are down the way a little bit. And so Joseph says, okay. And so being the good son that he is, he goes down to the other field to get his brothers, right? He goes down there, the brothers aren't there. And so another person says to him, no, your brothers are down over that way. You gotta go that way. So Joseph, like a good son, doing what his dad tells him, goes and gets his brothers. And as the brothers see him coming, they're like, here comes Joseph. Let's kill him. Oh. Yeah. So the brothers are coming up with this thing that they're going to do to Joseph as he's coming towards them. Okay? They're going to kill him. They're going to get rid of him because they just can't stand him. So they're going to throw him in a pit. This is the story, right? All the brothers. And all this guy's doing is handing out what Dad wanted him to do. Go get your brothers and bring them home. That's all he's doing. The brothers say, we're going to throw him in a pit. We're going to let the animals devour him, kill him, and then we'll go home and we'll tell Dad he's dead, and we never have to mess with this little baby Joseph again. And the one brother says, let's not kill him. Let's just throw him in the pit. And so they agree, okay, they're not going to kill him, they're going to throw him in the pit, so they throw him in the pit. And then all of a sudden these other people come by. And one of the brothers gets a great idea. Let's sell him and make some money off of him. So they sell him into slavery. So Joseph, this kid that's going to get his brothers to take him home, probably maybe, I don't know, have dinner, ends up being sold into slavery. And the brothers go home. And on the way home, they slaughter an animal and they put Joseph's coat in the blood. And they get home to the father and they say, your beloved son is dead. How awful family betrayal is. And so Joseph's story doesn't end in slavery. Joseph's story, he gets sold into slavery, and he's such an excellent slave that he ends up in prison. And out of prison, he's such an excellent prisoner, and he can interpret visions and dreams that he ultimately becomes the second in command of Egypt. Now this is a Jew being sold into slavery, being second in command in the mightiest kingdom of the world. Now just sit with that for a minute. And this is where we enter the story this morning. Joseph is giving a speech. I don't know, maybe he's telling the community what's going on. They don't really tell what he's saying, but he's many pictures illustrating him dressed in Egyptian garb. With the big belt around and the headpiece. And then there's many illustrations that project him as being this godly, light behind him figure. And then there's other illustrations that show him in shabby clothing speaking. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that he's speaking. And he's speaking to a group of Egyptians. And all of a sudden, he spots his brothers in the crowd. The ones who threw him in a hole, sold him into slavery, there they are in all their glory. Now, what would you guys do? What would you do if all of a sudden you saw the people that wanted you dead, that threw you in a hole, sold you into slavery, then went home and told your dad you were dead? I don't know about. What would you do? Somebody tell me, what would you do? Would you love them? Would you say, oh, I'm so glad to see you? Would you say, let me throat punch you? Let me kill you. I'm going to do what you did to me. What would you do? Joseph couldn't hold his tongue any longer. And can you blame him? Can you blame him? So he says, everybody out of here. Get out. Except you. And you and you and you. You stay. Everyone else out.
Revenge is sweet.
It's not yours. Okay. These brothers who left Joseph for dead, he sees them and he sends everyone else out. And guess what he does? He begins sobbing, the snot, spit, snobbing that you can't control. Looking at his brothers who betrayed him, who ruined his life. He is crying and crying. This second in command of the greatest nation is brought to his knees because the betrayed are right in front of him. And he finally gets himself together and he says, yes, I am Joseph, your brother. Now, imagine what the brothers are thinking. Holy crap. We're going to jail. And we may lose our heads this day. And oh my God, he's alive and he's second in command. That's like us getting rid of one of our family and they turn into being the Vice President of the United States and we go before them for something. We got rid of them. All the power in the world. Obviously, the brothers were speechless, and that's what our scripture tells us. They were speechless. They couldn't believe what they were seeing or hearing. And I probably wouldn't be able to believe it either. And so Joseph says, come closer to me. I was like, I'm not coming closer, Joseph. I'll stay right here. Tell me what you want to tell me. He says, come closer to me. And you know what the first thing he says to them? Is my father still alive? Joseph never forgot his father. That's what he wanted to know most of all. Is my father still alive? Maybe there's a hope. There's something that Joseph may get to see his father one last time. And then he says, this is unbelievable to me. He says to his brothers, don't feel badly. Don't feel badly for what you have done to me. And don't blame yourself for selling me into slavery because God was behind it. God sent me here through this journey. What craziness is that? How many of us have said to the people that deserve our vengeance, don't blame yourself. Because God has sent me on this journey through your vengeance. That's what Joseph is saying. Because of your bad choices, God has made me second in command of Egypt.
Nanny, boo-boo.
Yeah, stick your head in doo-doo. I mean, however you want to put it. Yeah, absolutely. And then Joseph goes on to explain, God sent me here ahead of you to save your lives. What? I mean, this is revelation to these guys. Joseph says there's a famine in this land. It's been here for 3 years. And it's going to happen for 5 more. And the famine, there's not going to be any plowing, there's not going to be any growing, there's not going to be anything. So God sent me here through you to prepare the way. So that our Jewish lineage, the remnant of us, may live past this famine. What? I'm reading this story and I realize that this moment in time is God's saving life act of deliverance of the people of God. Through throwing a guy in a hole and selling him into slavery. Now, that has not happened to any of you, has it? Have you ever been thrown in a hole and sold into slavery? So don't tell me God isn't resurrecting your life if he resurrected Joseph's that way. And don't tell me God isn't using the church to still save the world that is in need of that message, because look at what God did for a Jew in Egypt's leadership. Our God's vengeance begins with rescuing us. And God's vengeance begins with not only rescuing the person that has been hurt, but he rescues the people that hurt, the wicked. See, Joseph's brothers this day, they were rescued by God. And Joseph had already been rescued by God. Listen to this scripture. He says, hurry back to my father, Joseph says. Go tell him, your son Joseph says, I'm the master of all Egypt. Come as fast as you can and join me here. I'll give you a place to live where you will be close to me. You, your children, your grandchildren, your flocks, your herds, and anything else you can think of, I'll take care of you completely. There's still 5 more years of famine ahead. I'll make sure all your needs are taken care of. You and everyone connected with you, you won't want for a thing. See, God's rescue and God's vengeance is cosmic. It doesn't just rescue the people. It rescues the animals. It rescues the land. It rescues the air, everything we breathe and eat. God's rescue is 100%, not 99%. And Joseph, the kid in the dirt pit, sold into slavery, says, come and I will give you everything you need, because that's God's vengeance. Hello? That's God's vengeance. God's vengeance doesn't say, you kicked me, I'm going to kick you back. No. God's vengeance is saying, why did you kick? You see, when someone hurts us, it's more about them than it is about us. I mean, just think of how much therapy modern-day Joseph would have needed. I mean, there's not enough money. Modern-day Joseph would have completely, I'm a serial killer because my brothers threw me in a pit. Now that might be taken up a little too extreme, but Joseph gave no excuse. Joseph rolled with it, if you want to put it that way. Joseph had such a relationship with God that he knew God's rescuing meant that sometimes our journeys are hard and dirty and stink, and we get in jail and we get hurt and we get punished, and it's not all good. But God is somehow making us whole in that broken, fractured moment. Go, tell my father. Look at me. You can see for yourselves, and my brother Benjamin can see for himself, that it's me, my mouth, telling you this. Tell my father all about the high position I hold in Egypt. Tell him everything you've seen, but don't take all day. Okay? This is where Joseph is usurping his authority. You remember what he did to me? Don't take all day. Go get my father and bring him to me. Don't take all day. That's the only time that Joseph gives a command. And this whole moment, this leader of Egypt to these criminals, his brothers, his family betrayal, the worst thing possible. Boy, we can expect betrayal from our enemies, can't we? But when our family does it, oh, it hurts. Go get my father now, is the only demand he makes on his brothers. And then Joseph throws himself on Benjamin and weeps, and tears go all over Benjamin. And Benjamin is his brother, throws his arms around him and weeps. And just the moment of rescuing takes place between them. And all of a sudden, there's nothing there anymore but love. God rescues us in love. How do we use our vengeance? Is it love? I would guess not. I think we use our vengeance. I do it this way. Why don't you do it this way? Who are you to tell me what to do? You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. You only know inside of you what you do with your vengeance. But God, in this moment with Joseph and with his brothers, God is giving us a choice to use our vengeance like God's vengeance. And it is not a hurtful vengeance. God's vengeance brings both parties whole. And both parties live into this wholeness of redemption, of love, of mercy. You see, do you have a problem with a family member? Read this. Read the scripture about Joseph, about his family, about what took place. And then ask God for God's vengeance upon your heart. And let God's vengeance lead you. Because when you work in God's vengeance, guess what you're going to do? You're going to work for unity. You're going to work for wholeness. You're going to work for love. And that is going to heal our broken, divided world. Specifically the community that we live in. Because this is where we've been called by God to bring this story to life. It's not just a story that lives in words. It is a story to be lived out by God's people. The Pharaoh hears about Joseph's story. The Pharaoh, the leader, the Egyptian, not the Jew, the Egyptian. Go help him, Pharaoh says to the people. Go help Joseph and his family get back here. Immediately, go. Do it. And so they did just that. They left Egypt and went back to their father Jacob in Canaan. And when they told him Joseph is still alive and he is the ruler over the whole land of Egypt, he went numb. He couldn't believe his ears. But more they talked, telling him everything that Joseph had told them. And when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent him to carry him back, the blood started to flow again in the Father. He came back alive. God's vengeance is the story of resurrection. Church, let our vengeance be a story of resurrection instead of a story of death and hatred. Let us be the Josephs. Let God work in us no matter what's going on in our lives, in our church, in decisions that are coming down, whatever. I'm not saying we don't have to think about it and talk about it and have hard conversations, but what if our vengeance, or what if our hatred became a tool for rescuing? What if it became a tool for love? What if it became a tool for redemption? Just imagine. Just imagine how Joseph thought about his brothers for years. I wonder if he hated them. I wonder if he thought vengeance against them the whole time. Oh, I can't wait to see them again. And then all of a sudden he saw them. And his heart melted. I don't know. Maybe Joseph was always pious and always felt that way for his brothers. I don't know. But what I do know is that God's story for us this morning is vengeance in a new kind of way. Vengeance that takes family betrayal and makes us all whole again. No more hate. No more, I'm going to one-up you. No more, I'm going to get you back for what you done to me. No more, I'm right, you're wrong. Just come to me and I'll take care of you. Come to me and I'll help you. Come to me and I'll give you anything that you need. Because when one succeeds, we all succeed. And when one doesn't succeed, none of us succeed. God's given us a powerful word this morning. So how can you go and be like Joseph? Amen.